Everyone. I know it's a Friday morning and it's payday and it's traffic, and I'd like to thank you for being here and joining us in this IBPAP Talks. And as Kenneth mentioned, I was with IBPAP for 7 years, the best years of my life, I always say. And it's really I'm really very grateful for this opportunity to speak once again here. So, we're talking about leading and managing in the VUCA world, in this world of uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, volatility. So we've talked about VUCA. I remember having talked about VUCA about 4 years ago, and now it's being talked about more because it's really changing, and it's changing so fast. The speed of change is happening so fast that even us were amazed and sometimes caught by surprise with what's happening. So this is me, as already mentioned. I have been in the BPO space for quite some time, before Y2K. So I hope some of you were born already. Yeah? Y2K is year 2000. So I was in a BPO company, in an IT company where we were doing the Y2K bug. And it was my first experience working 24/7. And it was very exciting because 24/7, really not many people were doing the night shift at that time. But knowing that there is uncertainty in the year 2000, what will happen to computers when they move from 1999? Will it go to 1900 or will it go to 2000? Will the planes crash if you don't change the program? So there was a lot of uncertainty even during those times. And now, with the technology, there's a lot more change that is happening. So I was then with Headstrong, now Genpact, and then I was retrenching a lot of people. And retrenching is not redundancy. It's not, it's not easy to do. And I remember the former former CFO who became the DTI Undersecretary, Noya Terada, was telling me, "Penny, you can do it so well even you don't even blink an eyelash." Wow, that's not good. No feelings. I said, that's not good. I'd like to work for a company that's not doing that anymore. I'd like to be working for a company that's hiring. I was telling my headhunter, just two choices, telecom or whatever industry is growing. And lo and behold, I got hired at Convergys. So you know my story. I was employee number 1 of the biggest contact center in the Philippines. So how many of you are ex-cons? So ex-cons, ex-Convergys, not ex-convicts. We're all ex-cons now because now it's concentrics. So I've been in this BPO space for quite some time, and the most fulfilling role that I've had was with IBPAP, wherein I spent 7 years of my life really doing advocacy work, and now I'm continuing this advocacy work through coaching and doing success training, the Canfield methodology. I'm also part-time faculty of the De La Salle College of St. Benilde, and I find it a lot of joy for me when I see my students already becoming professionals. That means they're able to adjust, adapt to this changing world. From the world of school to the world of work. They get shocked, and I do get shocked as well because of the pace of change. So, there's a study. What can happen in 5 minutes? I read this article, Leading and Managing in the VUCA World. What can happen in 5 minutes? So YouTube. In 2017, I have my cheat sheet here. 2017, million views in YouTube in 5 minutes. That's in 2017. What is the number now? I'm sure the number is much bigger now because we have it so handy on our phones. And it even pushes us to watch YouTube. There's a push now, not just you click it to watch it. There's something popping up on your phone or even on your laptop that tells you to watch something. Twitter. So there's 694,444 tweets on Twitter in 5 minutes. And I'm sure this number is even higher now. Again, that number was in 2017. So that's Twitter. Let's take a look at Facebook. How many status updates in 5 minutes? 586,000 updates. How many updates do you do? How many updates do you contribute to the 586,000? I don't have Instagram here, but I do have Google. The Google searches in 5 minutes is 4.8 million. 4.8 million. Can you imagine that? And Google has become a verb. I-Google mo na lang. Right? I-Google mo na lang. I-YouTube mo na lang. How do you do this? How do you do that? I-YouTube mo na lang. I-Google mo na lang. Where do you want to chat? Let's chat in Facebook Messenger video chat. Right? So there are so many things that are changing now that's keeping us all awake. So, we now live in a very VUCA world. The world is really changing. The world is changing so fast. The question is, how do we adapt to this change? How do we keep up with the pace of change that's happening? And as Reg said, yeah, we all have to be lifelong learners. But what do we do? As leaders and managers, what do we do to help our people get to that place wherein we that they will be successful in whatever endeavors they are in? What is that place? How can we help them? So, what is VUCA? Let's watch this video. So Jack Welch said, if the rate of change outside exceeds the rate of change inside, then the end is in sight. So in your organization, what is the rate of change? Is it faster? Is it slower than what's happening? You don't have to say the answer aloud, okay? You can keep it to yourself. You might have a competitor beside you. You don't want that, right? So what we've seen here is in the 20s, 67 years to take an S&P 500, Fortune 500 company to be delisted in 67 years. Now that is not even true. Now 15 years. I used to work for a company. I'm sure some of you know this. Know the company. The name of the company is called Kodak. Yes? Remember, Kodakan mo ko? Gone is that word. What's the word now? Selfie. Selfie tayo. Before it was Kodakan mo ko. Now no more. Nobody remembers Kodak. But you know that Kodak was the first company that developed digital cameras. First company, 1976, they developed the digital camera. And what happened? Since the digital cameras was going to eat the film, chemicals, and paper business, they said, no, let's not do it. And lo and behold, someone else did it. And they went bankrupt. So we've seen this in many companies. If you saw the video, there says blah blah car. I don't even know what blah blah car is, right? That's in 2015. It's only 2019 and we don't even know what that is. So now there's Airbnb, there's Uber, there's Booking.com or Agoda or Traveloka, whatever your company is. A lot more now. And the world is changing so fast. So what does this all mean? So, volatility. So the world is so volatile. And we know this, that the changes that are happening are rapid, uncontrollable, and can even be sudden. So something can be changing while we're speaking. In your headquarters, perhaps something may be changing that before you know it, it will be passed on to you. Many of us work in global companies. We don't know what's happening in global. Before you know it, we will be advised of what changes are going to be made here. And it's sudden. It's volatile because the competitors are out there to get our share. So what are we going to do in this volatile world? So uncertain. So the rapid changes make the future unprecedented and harder to prepare for. Again, uncertain because we don't know what will happen tomorrow. What happened 5 years ago may not be the same that will happen tomorrow. What got you there, made you successful 5 years ago, will not make you successful tomorrow. I remember when we first started Convergys, we were the very first one that did billboard ads. SLEX. First one. And I remember that little girl that had the growth plans of what Convergys wanted to do. We were the first one to have walkway ads. We did a lot of gimmicks. And if you do that, everyone's doing it. What will make you unique? What will make you different? What will make you stand out, given all these uncertainties that we are faced with? What is C? Complex. Complexity. The complexity is really the evolution of things and processes when it becomes more complicated and causes confusion or even chaos. It's really very difficult when there's complexity because we know that the processes that we have, we're talking about chatbots and AI, and they're all getting interconnected. I'm working with a client right now, so I do a lot of gigs. I'm in the gig economy. I have marami racket, in other words. And we were talking about the complexity of AMLA, as you mentioned, financial crime, and all this. Something could be going on in some part of the world that we have to know what's happening because of the complexity of the processes that need to be interconnected. For credit cards, for example, we were just talking about credit cards earlier, and if you monitor the purchase pattern of an individual, for example, and this individual is doing a lot of purchasing of guns, if you are able to catch that, you can alert the police. And that's data analytics, right? So there may be complex things that we can do, yet the question is, are we doing it? What can we do to be able to work in this complex environment? And A is ambiguous. Speed of change makes us lose clarity as we try to cope with the changes, the causes of the changes. So it's very ambiguous, but we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Before we say change the tire, you change the tire when the car is stopping, but not anymore. You change the tire when the car is running. You don't wait for it to be 100% complete. Your process to be perfect, to be able to implement it. 80% is good enough. You run with it and change it along the way. So what do we do? What do we do? Is it going to be disruptive? No, it doesn't have to be a disaster. It could be the way we want to do it, and how do we lead and manage in this way? How do we lead and manage in the VUCA world? So I have some tips for you. We begin with V, volatility. And volatility, we also use the word VUCA. V stands for vision. Let's have a vision. Let's work with a vision and with our people. Lead our people towards a vision, and also have them develop values that will help your team react quickly to change. So if your value is innovation, if your value is creativity, if your value in your organization is really being able to make it through change, what is the vision? What's the purpose? Where are you headed to? What's your direction? Now, if the people are not working with you towards the same direction, maybe they're not the right people for you. Go. Because what's best is you're all working in the same direction. You is understanding. So we said it's uncertainty. Let's work on understanding. And understanding means knowing your customer, knowing your industry, knowing your business, and not just being one step ahead. It says here, be one step ahead of competition. I always say, be 10 steps ahead. Because if you're just one step ahead, they might overtake you before you know it. Be always 10 steps ahead. Be a continuous learner, be a lifelong learner. Always look at changes. Always look at how you can improve things for yourself and for your people and for your organization. At the end of the day, what's the ROI for your organization? What's the ROI for you? What's the ROI for your team? How can you help them through this change? It's complexity, collaboration. And here we do believe that it's important now to really have collaboration and teamwork. The output of one department is the input of another department. How do you make that process, those processes seamless so that they really collaborate with each other? I'm working with an organization that do cross-skilling. So they cross-skill their staff to be able to really collaborate with each other, to really know what the output of one is the input of another, and that input they learn through being cross-skilled. So collaboration is key. And ambiguous, adaptability. So invest in training. As mentioned by Reg earlier, always be there to learn. It's okay to fail, but fail fast, as we always say. Fail and learn from the failures. It cannot be not learning from anything. You have to be able to learn from these failures. And it is so important for us to strive and look at being agile and adaptable. What we know now may not be relevant tomorrow. So it's always important for us to be hungry for learning. Echoing once again, be a lifelong learner. So in this VUCA world, it's very important for us to see that it's the learning of the organization. It is working with the organization. The way in which the leader manages the organization in this world can determine whether the company or the organization will survive, thrive, or continue to grow. So this is what I would like to share with you. Vision, understanding, collaboration, and what's the U and what's the A? Adaptability. You think you have that? Yes. Yes. So be firm with what your answer is. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's no, it's getting there. Right? Getting there. That's why you're here. I'd like to thank you for listening. And I'd like to be able to promote something. And women, as you can see, I'd like to just show this. A female, but look at the shadow. So women can excel. I'm working with ILO on a project called Women in STEM, in business, soft skills training for women. We want to make sure that the women are as equal to men in terms of being able to be the best that we can be. So thank you once again. My name is Penny, and you can connect. Oh, by the way, I have to promote my book. Sorry, I have to promote my book. So I published a book called Career Shift, Follow Your Passion. And it's available at National Bookstore, fully booked, Amazon and Amazon Kindle. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on my. So maraming salamat po.